coming. It's brewing. But I think the most important part is to basically bring you this energy through this video, which is so freaking magical. I'm currently in Celebration, Florida, and I found this really magical park that I feel a lot of fairy energy around. There's trees and there's beautiful houses, and I just got here and I was just like, let me just sit here and meditate. And I'm like in such gratitude of, I never even knew about this place, and there's sun shining through and it's a circle and it's so magical. And I just wanted to really kind of just like share this energy with you because it's just so it's so majestic, it's so miraculous in a sense. What led me here was, what a powerful day it is on this winter solstice, and how lucky I am to be here in Florida where it's hot during the winter, right? So which makes it actually completely so nice and beautiful, comfortable. I think here it's like in the 80s, but it's not like a hot 80s, it's like a comfortable 80s, there's not too much, it's just perfect. And it's just beautiful because so I'm here and I was kind of, running around a little bit. And, it's funny when you're in your car for a very long time, you're kind of I just need a pit stop, and I just need to just get away from the car a little bit just to go, just go rest. I kind of was thinking about how I really wanted a nap, but then and then something led me here, and I was just wow, this is exactly what I needed. Just a nice, I have I was gonna say a picnic table, a bench, and it's and it says celebration on it, which is so beautiful. And what beautiful way to celebrate, the winter solstice. It's just, I'm just I can cry because I'm so filled with gratitude in terms of how everything is so beautifully unfolding after a very long time of me not knowing what's going on. I still don't know what's going on. I don't think I'll ever know what's going on, but it's just you trusting, you having faith. One thing that I'm very, very much so filled with gratitude about is the aspect of how my mother is a woman that has never really, she has never really been about drama, and I'm just grateful for that. She was always a quiet, just gentle soul, and never it's very rare where she would shit talk somebody, And today I ended up going to, gosh, there was so much. We'll see if I get to it, but the main point is that I went to, so I was at Dunkin' Donuts, and I, sat down, I got my order, I sat down outside, and there was a whole bunch of women sitting there. And it's just so funny because in my cards today I got for my health, it's just observe, right? And what a beautiful card to get too. That's just so utterly powerful. So what I ended up doing was I observed these women, and they were all sitting down. It was two mothers and their daughters, right? So each of them had a daughter, and they were sitting, and they were just shit talking, just some person that they know. And do you believe how she was doing this? Do you believe that she did this? And I was thinking to myself, and it's so funny because I didn't judge them at all. It was just more so me wanting to kind of just I guess I just had to show up with my energy, and I wasn't judging them because I'm that's kind of how life is. I'm as quote unquote sad it is as it is, it's okay because people don't really, it's not okay, but you have to accept it because people are not fully awakened yet, right? So long story short, I was just thinking to myself, I was wow, I'm so grateful because I've never really had the need to shit talk somebody else, and for a very long time, making a whole conversation about it, I feel oh, I'm just seeing that my eyeliners needs to be touched up. Anyhow, so long story short, and I just sat down and I was just eating peacefully, and I just was minding my own business, but listening to them too. It's really funny because usually I'd be oh, fuck this, I can't even be around it. I'd be kind of arrogant to the imperfection of it all, right? like kind of like spiritually arrogant, if I want to say, like where you know you're like a level up and you're like, I don't need this shit. But I was like, no, I'm just gonna just like mingle. Like they're not harming anybody. They're not gonna harm me. Like love, like it's okay. And you actually, usually I would go above and beyond and send them love, but I was just kind of like sitting there and just like enjoying myself, right? And it's funny because miraculously, without me even blessing them or without me even judging them, or just simply by being there, one of the women, she started saying, hey, let's focus on, all of a sudden it was just like very interesting, like she just decided that she was going to be the game changer out of all of them. And she's like, you know what, we really should focus on, because that's what happened. So now I'm like recalling it better. So at one point, this woman who decided to be the stopper of the shit talking, her and I, before she decided to do that, her and I had eye contact, and I just like, gazed at her. I didn't give her anything, but it was just kind of like a side, like, okay, like we acknowledge each other kind of thing. Like we're just like, we just saw each other. We didn't even smile. It was just like one thing. It was just kind of like an understanding. That was so interesting. Yeah, that's what it was, an understanding of sorts. And a long story short, she was what's it called? Like, so all of a sudden, like maybe like 2 minutes in, it's like she understood like what my soul was transmitting to her. And she was just kind of like, all of a sudden she was like, let's start to focus on the positive, in terms of this person. And she's like, if I had to like get my insurance done, like she would be the person that I would go to. She's like, she's actually really smart with that, and da 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 da. And I was like, wow. And then all of a sudden everybody chimed in, oh yeah, you're right, I would definitely go to her too, blah blah blah. And hi, beautiful birdie. I love it. Oh my gosh, this is such a blessing. And it reminds me of New York, which is so beautiful because you don't really get that in Florida, and it's just so tranquil, serene, like blessing. I'm telling you, like straight up blessing that I can really cry. And I'm glad that I'm sharing this with you because it's perfection. It really is. It's like natural perfection. When that aligns for me, like, it's fucking brilliant. And I'm just like, wow, like I'm flabbergasted by how the universe works. So long story short, she starts changing her tune, and I was like sitting there and I was like, wow, that's so fucking cool. Like how this woman, it was a woman, she decided, and and then she went into it and she's like, I'm a woman of deep faith. And I said, whoa, what a message that is. It's like, talk about seeing somebody's gaze, and then basically reflecting out what you see in them without actually knowing that you're doing that, right? So it's like, she doesn't know me, I don't know her, but yet when we acknowledge each other with our eyesight, with our eye contact, it was as if like she scanned me, like she understood, like not even scanned me, it was more so like she downloaded whatever I had to transmit to her. And it's as if she like gave back to me a message, like in terms of a circular type of motion. Like she gave back to me who it is that I am, right? And so because and I was just like, wow, I'm hugely grateful for that too, that she's basically telling me that I am too a woman of deep faith. And so, and I've never heard it said that way, which was even more astounding, where I was like, deep faith, wow, that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? And that's really such a cool new understanding of myself. And I was just like, wow, so it's just magical. This is just a magical day. It's such a blessed day. It's such a celebratory day, so much synchronicity, like in terms of just what's going on in my world. Like, what? I was like, holy shit. And like when you're like listening, and it's so funny. Another quick message here is to slow the fuck down a little bit, because when you're slowing down, like right now I can slow down and I can literally take in downloads, that I am able to give to you as there's all these animals around and I want to just see them. I want to see what they are. I like peeking through like the what's it called, the greenery, you know, like the foliage, just to see like what's hiding behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny because you hear something creeping and crackling through the leaves, but oh, I saw something. Oh, I think it's a squirrel. Oh no, it's a bird. Yeah, it's either a bird or a squirrel or something, just as magical. So the whole thing is, it's just like, so I think my whole point with that is, obviously, I think it's obvious my whole point with the whole thing is that us women need to stop shit talking, and it's very easy to do that by just focusing on the positive of another person. You know, we can shit talk other people to be like, you know, they don't do things right, and actually it's really funny because she had also mentioned, she goes, I don't think I'm normal, but she goes, I think I pass really well for normal. And I just like laughed at that because I was laughing in my head. Like, actually, I don't think I realized that until now, where it just like kind of settled in, and I was like, you know, that's my truth too. Like, it's like, I know I'm not normal. I'm not considered normal, but I definitely, like, I seemingly like pass as normal, which is so funny, which makes me a total enigma, like, all the time. I think about that all the time, how hilarious that is. Like, I'm like, and I think that's what makes me such a game changer, is because people don't realize who I am. I mean, sometimes I don't even realize who I am. I just kind of follow my intuition all the time. And then, like, whatever comes out, comes out. And I was like, oh, that had to come out. And that's, you know, it's the surprising part of it. But I think people think that I'm one thing and I'm the total opposite of it, right? So, and like, in a good way, right? Like, because I always really tried to side with the best, the highest and best, in the greatest way, and the goodness way of it all. And, you know, and those are my expectations for other people, because it's like, and it's not actually a high expectation. People think that it's I have very high expectations. It's like, I don't have high expectations. I just expect people to love themselves enough to side with the good, you know? And I think that's what we're all here wanting, right? So it's like, if we're wanting that, because no one wants anything bad to happen to them or bad to happen to somebody else, like, deep down inside, like, no, that's not the truth, you know? And like, we're all born lovers. I really feel that. Like, some, you know, like, I just feel that, you know, like, a baby's not going to come out hating on everybody, taking a fucking, you know, pistol to somebody's head. Like, they don't do that, you know? I know that was like a crazy fucking example, but it's the truth. Like, we're gentle beings. We're sensitive. We're, you know, so if we were to just side with that truth, that that's who we are, then, you know, the world would be so much better. And it's really funny. Like, also another thing, I went into Walgreens today. I love Walgreens, by the way. Shout out to Walgreens. I love Walgreens so much. And I think I'm what do they call it? A beauty enthusiast. Yeah, that's what I am. So I love how they came up with that. So, so basically, that's definitely who I am. But, you know, and it was funny because there was like, you know, Walgreens, one of the reasons I love Walgreens is that it's pristine. It's like so beautiful, in terms of like, you know, how organized they are and how clean they are and just fresh looking. And they have good prices, you know. And like, they always have like different things that like I never see, you know. So I end up seeing something new every time I go in. And long story short, there was like something, there's like, I don't know, like there was like, oh, that's really interesting. I'm looking down and I'm seeing screws in the boards, in the wooden boards, and they're like Chinese. They look like Chinese. Wow, that's so cool. They look like Chinese coins, which is amazing. Talk about heaven on earth. It's like this whole wooden bridge thing that I'm on is like, it's held together by heaven on earth. Like, you know, what's it called? Screws, which I've never seen that in my life. So interesting. I'll take a picture of that and post it on my Facebook page. Yeah, make sure to go there, by the way, because I write a lot of my stuff. That's kind of like my blog area. Soon, I guess, to be changed to Shopify is where I'm going to blog my stuff. But like, for now, I think it's Facebook. So what was I going to say? And maybe, you know, I still have to think about that. Maybe I'll keep both, but we'll see. So what was I gonna say? So anyhow, oh, so there was like there was pads on the floor, and it was funny because like there was a family in front of it, but like they didn't pick it up, you know? And I was like wondering if they would, and I had a feeling that they wouldn't. And I was gonna do it in front of them, but then I was like, it's just like, it was like, you know, when it's like too close for comfort, like the aisle was like small enough for just like them to be in it, and I was like, I just had to bypass them. So I came back and I put it back, and that's just out of the goodness of my heart, because I like to do good things every day. It's for myself. I did something nice for somebody else, like, you know, I helped the guy at like the restocker. I put it back, you know, I put this, I worked retail, and, you know, actually that's my suggestion for everybody, is to work retail in their life, because you will see the difference between how people treat each other in terms of just because you're working retail, people see you as if you're not like human, or as if you're like a lower level of human, and it's not right? So, it's just, you see a different side of things, and it's a real learning curve in terms of how stupid it is, right? Because it's like, we're all human, we all have hearts behind us, but yet like maybe the role that we play in this life, in terms of like, you know, having a job, which is a blessing, but not having a job that is highly respected enough, which is really ridiculous. Kind of like gives us the label as if we're like some sort of like low class or whatever, but that's not the case at all. That's just how we as humans labeled it. And you know, and meanwhile we don't focus on the good of why a person is there, in terms of like, oh, they're helping themselves maybe pay through college, or they're actually, you know, helping a company, you know, put themselves together. My eyeliner is like, it's really funny, I'm like really looking at my eyeliner for some reason. So yeah, so long story short, you know, so that's what I'm saying, like, you know, people who work in retail, they deserve the respect too, like, just as any human would. And, but yeah, it's just really funny how society, like, kind of came up with that shit, and we're all, like, following that, like, as if, no, next time you go into Walgreens or a place like that, just make sure that you are grateful, because they are all part of your convenience in terms of, you know, your experience. So you're going in there for an experience of convenience, and you expect it to be a certain way. Well, there's people behind that. That's not just, doesn't just appear there. There's people that take care of that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, so just like fully respect that. Fully respect people for who they are. But anyhow, so I like picked up this, you know, whatever the object was on the ground. And I picked it up, and I was like, okay, that's like my good deed for the day. But then I was like wondering, like, why don't people fucking pick that shit up? Like, why do people think that they're too good for that? And the funny thing is, it's like, I just think that people walk around thinking like, why should I do that? And it's like, why shouldn't you do that? That's my whole thing. It's like, if you focused on why it would be beneficial for you to do some certain thing, you're going to get through it faster, you're going to be more helpful, and you're going to be more happier. It really does work towards people's happiness. And, you know, it's a different form of giving, just like love comes in different forms. There's a different forms of giving. Now, I don't judge people who don't pick that up either. Like, if they're sitting in front of it and they don't feel like picking up, that's their decision. There's something called free will. You have to be okay with people's decisions. Maybe you don't know what their body's going through. Maybe they're, you know, hurting, or maybe they just can't bend, or whatever, you know, but you don't see that, you know. So you can't judge a person by not really knowing what they're going through. You just know what you're going to do, because that's all the control that you have over yourself, you know. So for me, I was like, okay, that's going to add to like a good deed that I do today. And it's just like, and if it's effortless because it's obvious, and I can help out in that sense. And, you know, and it's pretty amazing, because like, if you think about it, in whatever store you go into, there are cameras everywhere, right? And so you would think that, like, you know, somebody would come up and be like, hey, thanks so much. Not that you would be doing it for that reason, but it's just funny. Like, I think of that sometimes, like, you know, the lucky shopper or whatever, some stores do it, or maybe it's just like on TV, where like when people like they end up getting like the 100th, you know, they're like the 50th shopper of the day, or the 100th, it does not even make sense, whatever, shopper of the day. And then they get like a prize or whatever. And so I was thinking, I was like, oh, in my company, we're definitely gonna, and this could be for anybody's company, so take it and run with it. But in my future company, like, we're gonna be giving away prizes for those who go above and beyond in their kindness, as in, you know, our clients, as in our customers, because they don't have to, but if they choose to, fabulous, you know. And we're gonna reward that, because that's really beautiful. It's natural. It's who we want to attract, you know, really good people. And, you know, it's just that beautiful, because it just revolves, you know, the whole thing evolves and revolves around kindness and love and whatever. So, you know, I guess like this, you know, it's funny, I had no idea what this video was going to be on. I just felt like I needed to do a video, and, you know, these are messages in terms of, you know, today's the day to really start being more gentle with yourself and gentle with others, and, you know, start rebuilding yourself in a good way, in terms of, you know, let love build you, and let kindness build you up, and let, you know, and also a message that I saw today was like, believe in yourself. And it's just like, yeah, today's the day where you take on the affirmation that says, I fully believe in myself, even though you may not know what that feels like. Like, I don't know what that fully feels like, because I feel like I struggle with that sometimes, because I've never had that, you know, I've never had that, like, kind of taught to me, and I don't know like how that feels, but I do my best in terms of doing that, and trying to get through it, and trying to build myself up in terms of believing myself. So, you know, when different like inspirational ideas come about, like, I do it, you know. And but I'm also very grateful, because I think it also is very humbling for me. But it's just like, I gotta get a little past it, because sometimes when you're too humble, you like don't want to create the ripple of change in this world that you're really meant to do, you know. And because you're a little scared and you don't believe in yourself, and that's what kind of keeps you at this like humbled level. That's like, I guess, humble in a negative way, you know. So yeah, so just believe in yourself fully, take on that affirmation, you know, and be kind and love, you know, as much as possible. And even to those that don't love themselves, just send love to everybody. Show up. Also, when you show up to different places, just know that your energy is meant to be there. You know, like here, I just landed here. It seems like I was just like dropped, because I have no idea what this place is, but it's magical. And I'm like, I just know that I'm supposed to be here doing this video. And, you know, that's magical enough, like in terms of just, I don't know, showing up for you guys, showing up, you know, for the world, showing up for, you know, showing up to where I'm supposed to be, and, you know, where your energy is supposed to be. Honor that, you know. This is why you have to follow your intuition, because it's like, you know, you end up not having that FOMO, like, you know, fear of missing out. No, because literally loving the life that you live, there's no room for fear of missing out, because you're living your life to the fullest. You're in it to win it, you know, and you're in it, you're experiencing it to its fullest. And it's just like, and it could be so simple, but yet so grand, you know. That's what people don't realize. Like, my life is so special because of that, and it will be prolonged. But, you know, people have to just, you know, you have to reach a certain level of understanding when it comes down to that, to really appreciate how this life really works. And I'm so grateful to have figured it out by the age of 30, which I am now, which is like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, holy shit, like, I would have never imagined it, but I love it. Oh, there was another synchronicity. I'm going to try to get like through all the synchronicities. It was amazing. So some guy comes in, oh, I was in a store, and some woman comes in, and she's like, hey, I was at, you know, Subway's, and they told me to, you know, come over and grab change from you guys. And he was like, and this man was like freaking out, like behind the counter, you know, the man who owns the place. And he's like, they always do that, blah, 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 da, 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 da. And he was like, it's not fair. We're prepared. And I said, and I was like right there, and I was just watching this, and I said, and then, you know, this woman was really kind. You can feel her. And he was very kind too, but he was just having a moment. And we were all there, and then I said to him after she had left, and she said, "Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it. I know I'm going to let them know that not to do that if they're always doing that to you." And she turns around and he says to her, what did he say? He's like, "Oh, like, don't worry about it. But, it's just something that they should be prepared on." And he goes, and he was even telling them, like, "Oh, $20, they don't even give, they don't even break a 20 for people, that are asking for money to be broken, right?" And so he was like, it's like stinginess. And I was like, okay. So she walks away, and I say, I said, "Don't get so mad at it," because I said, you don't realize that they're actually giving you free marketing, And I told him that, and he turns around and he's like, "Free marketing? Are you crazy?" Blah, blah, And then all of a sudden, the girl that just asked for the exchange in money, or to break her, break her big dollar bill, break her big money up, she comes back and she plops a soda on the counter. And she goes, "Here, I'd like to buy the soda from you because, you did me such a beautiful favor. Like, you basically showed up for me when I needed you, and I'm showing up for you." And I turned to her and I said, "See, she just proved my point." And he was like, and he stood there and he just shut the fuck up. Like, I love that. And especially when guys, it's the best. When guys, I think they're so egotistically in the right. And then all of a sudden they're just kind of they're like, "Damn," and then they just shut the fuck up because they can't say much. That's what I meant, So I was like, so she's purchasing from you. I mean, I don't even have to explain it any further. I'm sure you guys actually get the my whole drift too. So it's so that was very synchronicity in terms of what we were talking about. And she just showed up and she was like, "Boom, I'm going to buy a soda from you." And he was like, "Thank you so much." He's like, "You don't have to do that." He said, "I don't want you to do that." She goes, No, I want to do that." And that's the whole thing. It's you have to want to do these kind things. This is what the world really needs to be revolving around. People think it's just so corny and and it's listen, I love love so much, and I love all of the corniness that comes with it because it feels so fucking good, and I would never deny myself from it. And even though I come from a family who kind of has never taught me to receive that, right? We were always so pride-filled to be like, "Oh, who does that?" And corniness this, corniness that. But it's I've come to the point in my life where I'm actually, I love how it feels. I think it feels great, and I'm going to just side with it. And so, yeah, I want to empower all of you to actually think that, and it's so funny because I'm so fucking cool, and I am so about kindness, and I think kindness is super cool when you do it in your own way, because it can be so creative and so just magical for everybody involved that it's just it's so expansive and it's so fresh, and it's a different experience, and it connects you, and it's fucking amazing. So it's just I urge you to do that. I very much so encourage that in everybody else's life. At least do that even when you're feeling down. Just turn your downs around with kindness. That's the whole thing. So I'm gonna get going, guys, because my phone only records a half hour, but this half hour will be up very later. And I love you so much, and I'll come at you with a different recording. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.